Morning, chaps.
Morning, Daz.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. This has sort of been thrown on my toes this morning. Even though I knew I had to do one, you know, I'm a little bit nervous. Just bear with me. Sort of thinking I should have wrote a bit more now. But it is what it, I'm not, because when I didn't think I'd be studying doing one of these again. I did one of these 4 years ago when he first introduced him. And he didn't want it, he wanted it just a step and then your experience. So that's how I've gone with this one, you know, and it went all right last time. So I'm just going to try and explain. I don't know, I've sort of spent 2.5 decades, well I've probably spent since I was 16 in addiction, but I only started getting consequences 2.5 decades ago. Only. It's a lifetime, isn't it? Say only, you know, I sometimes sit in my room and you know, I get quite sad when I think about how long I've been lost. And, you know, so then I came to recovery at sort of 40, what was I, 43. I'd just done a diazy rattle. And the key worker had been trying to take me to meetings for a long while. And I didn't even know what meetings were. But I still thought I was going to get clean next weekend, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, on the back of that, I turned up at a meeting, a CA meeting, Cocaine Anonymous. There's quite a few fellowships. And someone carried a message to me about the 12 steps, and I thought, I went home that night skipping. Honestly, I thought I'd found a sort of cure to what I suffered with, but I made very hard work of it, you know. I didn't listen, I didn't want to do these 12 steps that was up on the wall. I thought I knew a bit better, I thought I were a bit smarter, you know, and I weren't. Things got a lot worse. And each time I picked up, things have continued to get worse. It's a progressive illness, and things do get worse. So my advice to you would be to get a grip on everything. You know, the suggestions that are offered in here, you know, we don't have to use again, as long as we sort of live by, well, we've got to find a new way of life. And as I was introduced to that in here, I was completely broken. And for the first time in my life, I trusted the manager and I listened and I applied myself to these 12 steps. So I'm just going to try and explain the first 3. Step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, well, the sort of 3 words that stick out for me is we, powerless and unmanageable. We, because I've been trying to do this on my own most of my life. I had to learn in here that it's a we program and I need help daily. I can't do this on my own. However hard I try, you know, things just get worse. Powerless. I sort of admitted I was powerless 2.5 decades ago. I'll go through this. This is just my experience. That I didn't struggle with powerless. I knew I couldn't stop. I knew there was something wrong. I knew I didn't use like my friends, you know, who could go to work on Monday and stop using. I had friends that got on the gear with me at the same time, coming down. We all got into gear together, you know, using it to come down from raves and stuff. They all stopped when raving stopped, got clean and never used it again. And I couldn't. So that was quite easy to admit. I was powerless over my addiction. I couldn't stop it. I was using against my will for 2.5 decades, wanting to stop. I'll sort of explain this. This is what this means to me. I'm not even going to use the last sort of relapse, how quickly, but I used to get up for work every morning, take an handful of diazes with my coffee, and take an 8mm Subutex to get to work. Thinking I'm not going to use that day. I'm not going to use that day, I'm taking an 8mm Subi. And within 2 or 3 hours, because I had a job where I could come and go as I pleased, I would travel all the way to Clitheroe to my job, and within 2 or 3 hours I'd be back in Colne, scoring 4 or 5 bags to sit in a lay-by and try and use on top of an 8mm Subi. Spewing bile into the side of my car, trying to get some sort of... You know, I used that last time I explained this, and that's my best way of explaining powerlessness to me. Waking up in the morning thinking I'm not going to use, taking an 8mm Subi, and then it was horrific really. And then the sort of powerlessness this time, I don't know, I was quite naive. I thought I'd never use again because I'd done these 12 steps and I'd been in it, I'd been clean for a while. I was quite naive. I remember being sat in my house on Saturday night. After speaking in meetings saying that I was never going to use it, you know what I mean? How much worse my situation would be by using again. Only a couple of nights before I did it. About 7:30 on a Saturday night, and all of a sudden, I want to use. And I have no fucking control over that thought at all. Within, I don't know, I rang you, Tony, didn't I? I was trying to think of people that would score for me. You know, when you haven't used for a while, I was ringing people. Anyway, I pursued it and I used. I had no thoughts of ringing a sponsor or trying to get some help or getting to a meeting. It just overpowered me. And then my experience, it might not be everybody's experience, but I've never got away with one. You know, I'm just up and running again, and so the cycle started again, even worse, which I'll get to here. Over our addiction, that our lives have become unmanageable. A sponsor took me to his house about 5 or 6 years ago to try and explain step one to me. He sort of said exactly the same thing. I can understand that bit. He said I was struggling to get my head around this bit unmanageable. I thought I was doing alright. I had a company car, credit cards, I could steal as much money. Money was never a problem for me to use. I could use 10, 15, but you know, I could steal money. That was never, it was the internal stuff. The outer unmanageability,